Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. I hope y'all are good out there. It's been a while since I've done a video updating the Shanquella Robinson case because there really hasn't been any real substantial progress to speak of. Even though it's 2023, months since we learned about this terrible crime and that video that emerged that sparked outrage around the world, even though there's still hasn't been any arrests at this date in March of 2023. It looks like the Shanquella Robinson case against the Cabo Six is about to get underway. Now that we have some big legal guns getting involved, and that would be namely high-profile civil rights attorney Ben Crump. Today, we're going to highlight moments when Ben Crump and his legal team gathered in Washington, D.C. before the press to send a message to the DOJ, taking a stand basically to say, enough with the excuses. Playtime is over. And it has sparked new optimism that this process, this legal process, is about to really begin in the wrongful death of Shanquella Robinson. And it's about time we see some real judicial activity in this case start and get some quick momentum, rounding up all these Cabo Six, get them all at one time. I'd say let them go before a judge to speak their piece, give their testimonies, and no doubt we're going to have some sentences handed down for each and every one of the individuals that participated in the setup and the attack that cost Shanquella her life in that brutal confrontation in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. In Washington, during that press conference, attorney Ben Crump called for a high level of diplomatic intervention from President Joe Biden and the State Department to do all that is necessary in the case of Shanquella Robinson so that justice does indeed prevail. Numerous references to the cases of Gabby Petito and Natalee Holloway were made throughout the press conference, where Roland Martin, formerly of CNN, was in attendance representing the Black Star Network, amongst other journalists. During that press conference, Crump's team also called for the government to practice a uniform standard of justice for all American citizens, regardless of what community they may come from, regardless of what community they belong to. And references were again made to the Petito and Holloway cases particularly by community organizers Tamika Mallory and John Burnett. They made some really powerful statements. John Burnett is the one who has everybody sending out the pink letters to our representatives to let them know that we will not stop until justice is served and these guilty individuals are arrested. And I want to go back, good people, and say that the comparisons of these cases is not at all an apple and oranges comparison, especially when you look at Natalee Holloway and Shanquella Robinson's case side by side. Natalee Holloway is another young lady who presumably lost her life on the island of Aruba while traveling with a group of students and their chaperones. The scenario of both cases are basically the same. It's like the same exact plot, except you have one freshly graduated from high school, and you have Shanquella Robinson, a graduate of college. It's not the same exact story, but the scenarios, they're the same plot. In both scenarios, you have young ladies with their whole lives in front of them, recent graduates, celebrating their youth, living their life like it's golden, traveling to an exotic location with their respective groups of classmates, young graduates. In both scenarios, they arrive on foreign soil with people that they should be able to trust and expect to look out for them, planning to have a good time, partying, eating great food, bikinis, beach, swimming pools. It's all about having a good time until it goes wrong. Because in both scenarios, again, these young ladies were violated. They were violated outside of the U.S., and it's been a painful experience, a nightmare for both of their families, as it would be for anyone's family. So far, we still have the same scenario, same plot. It's playing out the same way. Right up until you come to the response of the authorities dealing with obvious homicides and the treatment of the families. Sharp contrast, because when the showing of sympathy is called for, empathy is called for, it's just worlds apart. That determination that you're supposed to get and see from investigators to get results for your case, that humanity that should be demonstrated. It's at this point that we start to get results that are like apples and oranges, because they're just worlds apart when you look at the cases side by side. The initial first responders, it's so dissimilar the way they treated these young ladies' cases, the way the families were treated. I've commented about this in other videos, not about Natalee Holloway, but about the Idaho State case. You can check out those videos. It'll be linked somewhere. It's especially disheartening when you have a case like Shanquella Robinson's, where the suspicious people involved actually did 90% of the detective work for you by creating a video and incriminating themselves. So how in the world you can drag your feet? It's really beyond me. It's really a miscarriage of justice already. Most of these speeding tickets that are handed out have more grounds for argument than delaying making arrests in the Shanquella Robinson case. It makes no sense. The Cabo 6 just made everything easy, even in the court of public opinion. Unlike the difficulty that investigators face with the Natalee Holloway case, because they just could not put their finger on who was responsible for her disappearance. The search efforts alone for Natalee Holloway's remains was a huge undertaking. Attorney Ben Crump shared during that press conference that a fact-finding mission had been conducted in Mexico to get answers as to the status of the Robinson case by former prosecutor Sue Ann Robinson, a member of Crump's legal team who is of no relation to the victim's family. I should point that out, but I really do like this lady. She is very thorough and she means business. During her fact-finding mission in Mexico, she discovered that Mexican authorities had not only long since completed their investigation, but they also turned over a complete evidence packet with their findings to Interpol and the FBI, making it available for all of the proper authorities in the U.S. to review. She even reviewed the packet herself, some of it. So the U.S. has the green light to move and make arrests. At this point, Mexico is simply waiting for U.S. authorities to take actions, according to them. And with that, Attorney Crump is calling on the Department of Justice to make a choice. Either arrest and detain the main aggressor pending extradition back to Mexico where the crimes initially took place, along with any other suspects that were involved, aiding and abetting in the crime, or alternatively, arrest and detain the same suspects, and then the American government should claim jurisdiction over the case. That's what I say. Attorney Crump's team shared that Mexican authorities are totally open to such an arrangement. And isn't our government, after all, a shining beacon and example of democracy, justice, fairness, and equal treatment under the law for all of my fellow American citizens? Of course. So why not? It makes sense for the U.S. to take over the case, being that these are all Charlotte residents. And it makes it, by and large, I see it as a domestic issue for the most part, even though the crime occurred on foreign soil. This is a domestic issue, in part, or largely. It is a little more complicated, but there should be nothing stopping people from making arrests on both sides of the border. Okay? I won't get into all that right now. This is why the example of the Natalee Holloway case, the Natalee Holloway incident, was referred to so often by Attorney Crump and his team, along with the community organizers during that press conference in Washington, D.C. No Americans were ever under suspicion for Natalee's disappearance. The U.S. couldn't make an arrest in that case, but yet they were heavily involved from Jump Street, from day one. We're calling on the same kind of resolve, the resolve that is very much like the resolve they had in the Natalee Holloway case. I'm looking forward to it, seeing this legal process begin at this stage. Of course, there are complexities to sift through, true enough, but nothing like the complexities they faced in these other cases. In Shanquella Robinson's case is more straightforward than it is complicated. You can't tell me that you do not have to be a brilliant attorney to see how straightforward this case is. It's like have a kid being caught in the cookie jar. Hey, but let the legal process begin, because we all know who put their hands on Shanquella, and we know who she traveled with. I mean, come on, there is no mystery here. And Mother Robinson, I say that respectfully, Mother Robinson, Miss Salamandra Robinson, she needs her peace. The next time she shows up before the press, it should be to thank everyone for helping to bring closure in her daughter's wrongful death case, so this family can begin to truly heal. I do keep up with this case, and I've been consistently keeping up with this case, even though I haven't commented on these new developments that haven't been substantial at all. Clearly, we can see that nothing substantial has been done. I mean, not even one arrest. Not even one arrest. Look at the Holloway case. No one has been found guilty. They have not been able to prove that anyone was guilty, yet we know who laid their hands on Shanquella Robinson, and we have not had arrest the first. But hey, we should be encouraged that we have new eyeballs on this, and we're going to keep sending pink letters and demanding justice for Shanquella Robinson, and we're going to continue to live our lives like it's golden, and we're going to be safe. We have to look out for each other, and we have to stand for justice, people. I thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and please do come back. I'll be sure to have some news you can use or other topics of interest. Peace.